Alright guys, welcome back to Exilium Games. Doing a quick tips and tricks video. We're going to start off with the comfort and resting and how that system works. As you can see here on the top of my screen, I have a rested bonus of 12 minutes and a resting status with a comfort of 5. I've had as high as 6. That is affected by a few different things. Let's start with raising the comfort level itself. What you'll find is that when you're in a house with a fire and a bed and various furniture, I think there's actually a deer rug somewhere nearby, all those things combined add up to a comfort level. I don't know if you can get past a 6, but with those basic things, your comfort level gets risen. Now, what that does is increases the amount of rested bonus time you get. Currently with a 5, I get 12 minutes, and I think with a 6, you get 15. Let's go ahead and take a look at, actually not that, let's take a look at the actual bonuses so you can see them real quick. The rested status gives you a 200% status or health regen and a 300% stamina regen. Now, this is different from rested. Resting is basically when you're sitting before the fire. So right now I'm going to eat some food to actually demonstrate this real quick because I'm starving. And you'll see, just watch it go over here in the bar, you'll see this jump up really fast. It better. You can do it. So it jumped up to, what's my math, 12? No, 7 there. And then let's say we do a strawberry and do a neck. There we go. So that rested bonus actually gives you a 200% health regen. So see how it just jumped up there, a pretty big percentage? Normally that would be a lot lower. You'd tick up a slower rate to get to the top. If you don't already know, the amount of HP you have is limited by how full you are. So obviously meat makes you more full. So yeah, see how pretty big jumps. Otherwise it'd be half that. Stamina regen is of course 300%, but you're sitting, so it doesn't really matter. Also, being in front of a fire, you won't notice this here, but if you're in front of a fire, you dry off super fast also. Now, let's go back to the actual stats. The other part of this is you get the rested bonus, which gives you the health regen of 50% and a stamina regen of 100%. This is really, really important, especially when you're fighting against bosses or you're just trying to sprint and run around and stuff. This is a really important thing. So basically, whenever you go out and you're going to do any sort of combat, always do this. Even if you're not, the stamina regen at 100%, and you can stack that with your Ethicur, I don't know how to pronounce that, bonus. You can run for a really long time, which helps you explore the map more. So that system, I will add this to my tips and tricks, and we will be right back. Alright, so the next part of this video, I'm going to go over the first couple of mining ores you can get. Copper and tin, I guess, technically counts. Hang on one second. Oop. Okay. So let me go find a copper node, and I will demonstrate both the mining of it and how to get it and where it is and so on. Be right back. Alright guys, I finally found a tin deposit after traveling very, very far. You can see I kind of had to do a circle around here to find one. Part of the problem is the server's been up for a little bit. This is the server we're currently hosting. Anyways, the only place you can find tin deposits, as far as I'm aware so far, is around the edge of water. It doesn't matter if you're in the Black Forest or in the meadows or anywhere else. It seems to be no matter what biome you're in, you will find tin in the water. Now, copper on the other hand, as far as I'm aware, currently is only inside the Black Forest. Kind of, it's a tier 2 metal and a tier 2 zone, so I think it's how they're separating up the metals and stuff, if I get up here. So I'm going to go find a copper node, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, finally found a copper deposit. Unfortunately it's at nighttime, but hopefully you can see it. It looks just like the rest of the hillside around here. But this whole thing is one copper node, and you can mine the whole thing out all the way down to the ground level. So I'll show you what it looks like once you mine a piece of it. So as you can see, a big hole and drops copper. Um, and this will go on for quite a ways. And it'll go a little bit into the ground also. So when you get down to the end of it, actually scan around the edges to make sure that you've gotten all the little itty bitty pieces out. The other thing you need to know is that to actually, oh shoot, hang on a sec. This is not meant to hit dwarves with, and I'm going to have a stamina problem here in a minute. Hang on a second. Oh boy, this is super bad timing. There we go. Okay. So there's a problem with stamina. Now
We need to run.
all right, I guess we'll be back. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Now that we got the creatures killed that were attacking us, another thing to point out about these copper deposits, you see the little shiny bits when the moonlight goes past it correctly? Kind of looks like gold inside the rock formations, but the rest of the texture looks like the rocks in these mountains. And this is how you'll be able to find your copper deposits. They are also only in Black Forest, as far as I'm aware. You aren't going to find them inside the meadows. Think of the Black Forest as a tier 2, and the copper as a tier 2 metal, if that makes sense. You will also need a special actual pickaxe to actually mine this. And this is something you get from killing the first boss, which is the antlers. So see here, I'm using the antler pickaxe. And you have to have this to be able to harvest both tin and copper. You can't do it without. So again, you just make that from the antlers you get from the very first boss. Also, the other thing about copper and tin nodes, when they're gone, they're gone. If you mine them, they do not spawn back. So that there isn't a finite amount of resources. However, if we look at the map really quick, the map is gigantic. So it is possible, maybe the Black Forest biome, for instance, will cover this much area or something. Don't know yet because I haven't explored the entire world. But just keep that in mind. The resources are limited. You need a special axe that you get from the first boss. You got to make it from his antlers to mine it. And copper is only found in the Black Forest, and tin is only found around the edges of water. I'll be back with future tips in a moment. Alright guys, got another tip for you here. This is something I just learned. It's really, really neat. You know when you go past these ruins and you want to see if you can get the wood back and you try to hammer at it or axe it, it just takes forever to do this and you decide it's not worth the effort? Well, here's a pro tip for you. Drop down a workbench. Just like this. And then all you gotta do is, hang on, middle mouse button on the actual item, the walls, and it'll break and you can see all this wood. You're getting it all super fast, faster than chopping down a tree. And the other thing too, some of these buildings will have beehives and whatnot in it. If you can deconstruct it the same way. And like this building here probably would have gotten me 100 different wood. Anyways, that's a really quick way to get wood. And we got something else. Are you shooting? I was like, what are these blue things in the ground? I thought I somehow got them out of the building. What are those?
They're thistle arrows.
Alright. You're too advanced for me. Yeah, that's really cool. Alright guys, I want to introduce you to the trader. Quickly look at the map and you can see this little icon here. This indicates the actual trader. So if you see him, you can just walk to him. He does have a bubble around it, so he's actually protected from other monsters, so you can kind of train other monsters here and they can't get past the bubble. It's actually created by these runes. See these runes here? There's a circle of them that surround his camp that create this bubble. It's kind of cool. Anyways, this is the trader's camp. It's got this cool looking weird beast of burden thing going on. Anyways, so the let's start off by selling stuff because I got stuff to sell. Click on this button here to open the sell, and it doesn't actually open up your inventory, and it seems to just take randomly from your inventory, or at least take the first to basically the first item that's sellable in order, sort of thing. So you see there at the top it sold amber. If we look up there, I'll press it again. It's going to sell another stack of something. So it just said sold for ruby for 80. So now I've got 1,129 coins. Now, one of the things we want to buy, there's a couple things. A, this little item here actually increases your strength by 150. So you start off at 300 in the game, and this will give you 150 bonus, or 50% bonus in carrying capacity. That's a lot. This little thing here will actually summon a boss. Actually, you probably need more than one, I think. This is obviously a fishing rod and fishing bait. This acts as a wearable torch. You can put it on your head, but it replaces the armor that you would have there. But then you don't have to carry around a torch like I currently am because I'm a newbie. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get the fishing rod and some fishing bait because I don't have quite enough for this little item here as well as the fishing rod, and I'm not so much worried about this. I want to demonstrate the fishing rod. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this, get that, and we'll get some fishing bait, buy that, and then I will do some fishing and we'll be right back. This is about portals, and this is actually surrounded by a kind of a prison-like thing that was built by a player. Monsters actually have a really hard time, and here comes a shaman, so let's get inside. Monsters will constantly try to attack like the portal and various things that you place down. There's certain triggering items, but they have a really hard time breaking through stone walls and iron gates and whatnot. So that protects the portal itself, because if you're on the other side and it gets destroyed, of course you're not going to be able to portal here. Anyways, this is the actual portal, and this will take us back to one of the player houses, and we will continue with the fishing expedition in a moment. There we go. Oh, one more thing about the portals. See where it says portal tag and it says Wibble and connected? This is the name of the portal itself. So if we go through it real quick. Eventually. You'll see this one is actually called, this is connected to Wibble itself. So if we press E and go to tag, you can see we can type in Wibble here. But this shows where it's connected. So generally, you're probably going to want to build sort of a portal hub of sorts. And then the portal hub will have multiple portals that are connected to other portals that go other places. So you don't spam it all around your house. But this basically, Wibble is connected to the other Wibble portal. It's an end-to-end connection, if that makes sense. You could, of course, actually change the name here and then connect it to another portal. So you could just have one portal in the middle, and then let's say portals all over the place. If you can remember where your portals are, you can just type in the name of the portal somewhere else, and it'll connect that portal at the other location. Alright guys, so here we are, set up to actually catch some fish, and I already goobered it up. So let me explain to you how this works real quick. You got your fishing pole, which we've demonstrated earlier, which you buy from the merchant, as well as some bait. Make sure you select your bait, because that actually loads it onto the hook. Press left mouse button to throw out. And you can see I'm way out there, 23 meters, which probably isn't the best idea because I can't see any fish. And it's actually really hard to see your bobble, if you want to call it that. I'm not a fisherman, so I don't know what that's called, but we'll call it a bobble. So I'm going to haul this back in real quick and demonstrate what it actually looks like closer. Okay, so that's not very far, but there are fish right there, so we might be okay. So what'll happen is you'll see these fish swimming around. There's one approaching right now. Oh, and I was too slow. See that little bubble that happened when he tugged on it? It did like a bubble above the water. So right when that happens, you have to left mouse click right away. Like there's no time to lose. It's like an instantaneous. You got to click.
That's right mouse click.
He's coming to it right now, real quick. Is it right mouse click? Hang on. It is right mouse click. Gosh, dang it. Okay. Cut. All right, let me start that over. Gosh, dang it.
The point is, you've caught your first fish, or nearly. So,
All right, and now I'm floating. The waves making me
oh, the
float.
tide's coming in.
All right, we'll try to do this. Okay, I'm going to try to start this over again. I've been recording since start time. I'll just cut it out. It's fine. All right, guys. So here I am getting ready to fish. I want to point out a couple things to you. Of course, you can need your fishing rod, obviously, and then you got to load your fish. You can see I have it on number 7. You load your
Sorry
fish.
to interrupt
Oh
again.
my
You don't have to
God!
load your fish.
I noticed
You just
when I pressed 7, it did a whole loading action.
it automatically loads your fish. You don't actually have to physically select it like arrows. Sorry.
Hate you so much.
Sorry, I don't want you to give out bad
Okay,
information.
okay. All right. All right, guys, so here I am getting ready to do some fishing. As we noticed before, got the fishing rod from the merchant as well as the bait. I think the fishing rod was like 350 when the bait's 10. You get 50 bait for 10 gold. Anyways, right over there we can see like a group of like 3 fish. We can try to aim over there, pressing left click will cast it. And the trick here is hopefully it happens quickly. If it doesn't, I'll cut to when I actually catch it. But they'll tug on it, and as soon as they tug on it, you'll see a little bubble. And you right mouse click as soon as you see that to tug on it and hook them, and then you reel it in. You can also, if you're trying to, let's say you cast it farther out, like an actual man would, and you wanted to pull it back farther, you just right click a little bit, and it'll pull it in a little bit farther. So we're going to go ahead and recast. And hopefully the tide doesn't wash me ashore or out to sea, one of the two. See how I'm just pulling it in just a little bit there to kind of realign it closer where the fish are? See? Oh, I pressed the wrong button. That was me pressing the left mouse button because I'm a moron. I'm going to go ahead and cast this again. There we are. Perfect. Now, we're going to right click as soon as that little bubble happens on where the bobble is. And this is skill based because you got to be super quick. It'd be a little pop. You don't see this bubble up above the bobble. See that 5 times fast. There is one out there, but it's kind of far away. It's really hard to see, so it's not really beneficial to have it too far out. I'm going to pull it in just a little bit more. There we go. There's a fish right off about 3 feet to the left. Hopefully I can catch. There's 3 fish right to. Here he comes. Right there. Got it. And I got him. Perfect. And I'm reeling him in. I'm holding right mouse button. And there we go. We got our fish. And that is fishing for you. Actually, fish is worth quite a bit. Let's see here. Take a look at it. We got 2 fish out of that. It's called a good catch. And we'll cook it up and see what it's worth. Alright guys, we just cooked up some of that fish we just caught, and we can see from here it gives us 45 health and 25 stamina, and the duration's 1200 seconds, which is pretty much the same thing as you get from the meat from a boar or a deer. Same 2 hit points a tick, same exact stats. It just gives you more health and a little bit less stamina, but more health. The neck tail, for instance, gives you 35 health and 20 stamina, so the fish is definitely better. And you don't have to go kill stuff. Just do a little bit of fishing. No danger, really. All right, let's take a look at the cauldron and some of the recipes you can make with that. First of all, it takes, as you can see here from the recipe, it takes 10-10. Not 10-10, but 10-10 to make. So it's actually pretty simple. Easy tier 1 item. Now let's actually click off this so I can select it. And here are some of the beginning recipes you can have that I currently have unlocked. There's way more, but this is an example of some of the bonuses you can get from some of the foods. Let's start with Queen's Jam, because I can actually make that right now with the materials I have. So if you look at, let's start over here and look at like raspberries. It'll give you 10 health, 20 stamina, and last for 600 seconds, and only 1 hit point a tick. Sort of the same thing with blueberries. Blueberries give a little bit different numbers, but basically the same low level food item. But if you combine them, keep in mind this actually crafts 4. So even though it costs 8 of each to make, it's crafting 4 of these. So it's only really 2 of these per jam. Each of them gives you 30 health, 40 stamina, and lasts twice as long at 1200 seconds, and heals faster at 12 hit points a tick. Pretty easy to make, and let's go ahead and craft a batch real quick. And you'll see this is actually the first time I've crafted it because you see the little warning or notice there. But there you go. What's interesting here is I just now noticed for the first time that you actually get a crafted by tag, so you can like sell your wares, I guess. But yeah, 30 health, 40 stamina, 1200 seconds. And this is super easy to get. I mean, as far as making food goes, everybody always sees somebody is literally crafting metal behind me somewhere. You see blueberries in the Black Forest is where you get blueberries from, and of course you get the raspberries in the meadows area. So you'll always run across these. You're always gonna have batches of these. So jam's gonna be super easy to make, and it's actually a really decent food. I mean, compared to like cooked meat, basically it does nearly the same thing as it actually does more than the necktail, and has more stamina, but just a little bit less health. But basically the same food value as far as the healing amount and stuff is concerned. And it's probably easier to make because you don't have to go out and hunt stuff. So, there you go. Alright guys, I want to show you fermenting. Another cool little element of the game. First of all, we got to create the mead base, which you can see here. This is the mead-based tasty. Which is not the right one. Hang on. There it is. Sorry, wrong one. The mead-based minor stamina is what we're going to create for our example. In this particular case, it takes 10 honey, 10 raspberries, and 10 yellow mushrooms. These yellow mushrooms you find in caves. And basically those little dungeons you find around. So you find them in caves and the dungeons. And of course, honey you get from the bees, if you don't already know that. Okay, so then you take this, the mead-based minor stamina. You can't eat this. You have to ferment it first. As you can see, it says there on the notice, on the card, that it needs to be fermented. So we'll take it over to one of the fermenting barrels, and we're going to add it. So now we can see it says fermenter, mead-based minor stamina fermenting. Now this process can take something like 2 in-game days, maybe 3 in-game days, depending on the item. And then it creates, I believe, 5 of the actual item itself. So in this case, you basically minor stamina mead. There are most of the other recipes that I have currently unlocked basically do the same thing. Where it says mead base, all of these items have to be fermented. You can't just eat them raw. You can't just craft them and then eat them. You got to also ferment them, and that's why there's multiple barrels. So when you do this process, you're going to want more than one barrel probably. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you the cart. This is one of the most useful tools outside of the ward that you can get, pretty early in the game. This actually, for demonstration purposes, I can carry like 300, right? So if you click here, right here on the arm of the cart, you can actually carry it. You actually got to be in the middle of the 2 bars. If you're over here, this isn't going to work. You have to be here like a normal person. There you go. Then you just walk around with it. So remember earlier, I showed you how you can place a workbench next to abandoned buildings, and it basically claims that abandoned building is yours. So then you can basically use your middle mouse button and destroy everything. And it gives you a bunch of wood and various other spices, including, pro tip number whatever, fine wood sometimes. Some of those buildings have fine wood, some of them have beehives attached to them, and various odds and ends that you may not even have unlocked yet or have the ability to get. Because like if you need fine wood, you need a bronze axe to be able to get fine... No, that's not... Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. You need a bronze axe to get fine wood. So if you use the workbench trick and then carry around a cart, you can load this cart up with a lot more wood than you can even carry, or ore for that matter. So let's go ahead and look at the storage inside. Now you could actually put in, unfortunately I don't have enough stuff to actually demonstrate how much you can put in here. It doesn't really have a limit, like per se. You can just fill up all these slots. And as you can see here, this is 50. You know, a whole bunch of wood, a whole bunch of stone. Do I have any other? I'll show you this box in a moment. This is actually the personal lockable box. But let's look at my inventory. So right now I'm at 142. I'm still at 142, which means even with all that stuff, I'm only slowed down a little bit just for, just carrying around, and you can sprint with it. So it's not bad. It does get a little bit tricky getting over like this bump here. It'll be a little wonky. So getting around in the rough terrain might be a little bit difficult, but it's doable. And you can carry around, like you can go on a massive wood gathering trip or mining trip and be a lot more efficient at it. Again, just click on the handle to let go of it. And while we're here, let's go ahead and look at the actual personal box that I have. Oh, actually, let me back up. I want to show you the recipe for the actual card itself. It's in the miscellaneous. To get it, to get the recipe for it, you have to make bronze nails, which you can see here. And that will unlock the recipe for a few different things, including the cart, which you can see here. Now, some may not have any wood to make it because I just put the wood in the cart for demonstration purposes. But yeah, then you make the cart. It's not that bad. 20 wood, 10 bronze nails, and just within an area of a workbench, which does mean you got to be able to make bronze nails, which is going to take both copper and tin, and you're going to need a smelter and so on. So your smelter, for instance, is here. So use your smelter, make some bronze, then take that to this other table right, where is it at? There, the forge. Make yourself some nails, and then you can make your, once you make the nails, you'll be able to make the cart. Over here, let's go ahead and look at the personal chest. This is a lockable personal chest, which means it doesn't have a whole lot of inventory space, but if you're trying to save your money or save high, valuable objects like gems or whatever you've got from dungeons, you put them in here and no one's going to be able to touch it. So. Alright guys, while Castigear is gone, we're going to go ahead and sneak through his house and do a little tour. He's done some really neat things with his architecture here. Let alone, this thing by itself is pretty cool. You get this, it's not hard to get. Let me show you the recipe for it real quick. Not that, that's a fishing pole. There you go. There, it's called a hearth. You need this stone cutter. There's this crafting item. Where's it at? Here, stone cutter. Which means you got to iron. So as soon as you get iron, you'll be able to make this. Iron is, by the way, is found in the swamps. And no, I have not been to a swamp yet. Haven't even seen one. So I can't really tell you anything about it quite yet. When I get to the swamp, I will probably do a swamp update video and go over some of those items. He's got a whole bunch of farm plots going on here. Not actually anything planted quite yet. But if we go over here, he got his beehives. This is kind of his chimney for his cooking area. Over here is where he keeps like his extra logs and extra stone. And of course his things to make, his charcoal kilns to make charcoal, or coal, I guess, technically. It's charcoal, but the game calls it coal. This is his cooking area, and it just gets out via there, the smoke does, so it's fine. With his fermenters, cauldron, tons and tons of storage, workbenches, fully upgraded workbench, smelters, forge, more storage, even more storage. This little thing here is actually a fire. He can light it. And this chimney goes through multiple floors. You'll see it here in a second. But if you light it, I don't have any wood. Go figure. The chimney goes right here and it goes up outside. So you can actually kind of use the chimney and get the bonus from the fire, even in the bedroom, even though it's not in the room itself. So this is his bedroom. So you're getting the fire bonus here. As you can see, I'm getting a comfort level of 6, which is the highest I've seen inside of a game. I don't know if you can get higher. I'm assuming you probably could once you start making higher tier stuff, but as it is now, 6 is probably the highest, which gives you 15, I think 15 minutes of rested time. So, yeah, it's really cool. He's done a really, really good job. The architecture of it all. Even the little beams up top there. And he plans on doing a like a portal hub area, where the portal, which is in the top floor there, will go to an area that has a bunch of other portals that go to other places, instead of having all the portals in one location. Anyways, he's done a really good job. And of course we have the harbor down here with his boat. So, I might as well show you the distance, how far a portal can go. So this is where the portal is now, and this is the portal that goes to the trader. And if you know anything about the game, you know that's a very long distance when you first start out. It's quite a ways out there.